Hi all, there was unexpected drama and entertainment from one of the Blitz games of the Grand Chess Tour in Paris. Mamedyarov going up the board, so white, Nakamura coming down the board, and the fun starts with on move 71 h5, which is actually potentially a losing move, it seems. Instead of h5, rook f5 to try and commit the pawn and stop rook h3. But instead, we have this move h5, and the Tarrasch rule is invoked. The rook goes behind the pawn, and this actually now is dangerous for white. So rook f5, it's actually like black's got the extra pawn, and white's pawn is going nowhere after f3. So the Tarrasch rule has been fully invoked here with lethal effect. King e1, threatening f2 and queening. Check. Okay, the king's blocking temporarily, but now there is a way for black to win this, believe it or not. But Nakamura played king g2. The way to win it, especially if you've got a lot of time in your clock, it might be possible to find it, is check, and after king d2 to play the strange move rook h2. It's a killer waiting move, but it is the Tarrasch rule. The rook's behind the pawn, and white's in a sort of zugzwang here. Whatever he does, he's losing. So rook g5, rook h1, and what happens here, for example here, king g1, and you can see that actually it's really strange, but black's winning this. He's queening his pawn and white's pawn's too late. So this is actually, strangely, a winning move, rook h2. It's the only move it wins. So there's strange things going on in this endgame. And I don't know if that's having an effect on the players as well, that they know they're making some inaccuracies here. So Nakamura played king g2. Maybe something was telling him somewhere that that might be a mistake, but it's a blitz game. They've only probably got like seconds on their clock. So we have king e3, f2 check, and white seems to be safely, stopping Nakamura's pawn. It should be technically equal here, and the game should have been, shake hands here. Any pawn promotion should in general work here. A queen, we just have this dead equal rook and pawn ending. Anything, a rook, a bishop. But Nakamura decided to underpromote a knight, and there's a little bit of a shock here that white doesn't routinely take the knight. Mamedyarov, he's thinking there's a slight difference here, and in fact the knight doesn't compel white to take, and in fact white doesn't take. Rook f2 check is played instead, and the first thing to note here is that king g3 is losing to check. Rook takes h3, and then king takes is simplest, where the pawn is running away. So there's actually, Nakamura's found a way to lose this in this variation. Okay, but the game, so the game continues. Let's have a look at how the game continues. With actually the better move, king g1. Now with best play, it should still be a draw. White took there. Okay, white's pawn up, but it should still be a draw. After rook f5, we have rook a3, h6, rook h3, rook f6. Okay, so it's annoying though that white now has this extra pawn, which represents, in theory at least, a winning chance. After rook g6, now black has to play accurately to actually stay in the game, and the move to stay in the game would appear to be king h2, but Nakamura played rook a4, and now this is starting to get a bit difficult after h7. Yeah, that pawn is representing a real winning opportunity. The rook goes behind it. The Tarrasch was a bit late here because the pawn's so advanced, and we have now rook g7, and the king is a little bit awkward here. So we have rook h6. I mean, it's difficult actually, this position, but probably to try and stay in the game is king h2. But with rook h6, yes, this king is now a fighting, attacking piece, and it goes up the board. and we get this situation where, unfortunately, white is now totally, for Nakamura, white is totally winning this position. So there's a lot of fun and amusement in simple rook and pawn endings, it seems, even at the Super GM level. But Nakamura may be kicking himself for underpromoting a knight, but it is a great source of amusement, possibly for years to come. So thanks, Nakamura, for underpromoting a knight. It was good. It makes for a good YouTube video. Thanks very much. Sorry, no, it's not funny. It's not funny. Okay, comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.